Don't overcomplicate this or any growth work, any healing work. It can be really easy to think like, oh, there's so much healing that I need that it's going to take such monumental effort to get there. And I'm so tired, I don't have the effort, so fuck it. Notice if you're living that story, and know that healing can be simple. I didn't say easy, but it can be simple. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to feel like magic is happening. I think that a lot shifted for me when I got that. I was constantly trying to effort to make the healing feel sparkly or feel like, okay, is it happening? Am I healing? Where's the evidence, right? Like, before I started this video, I just said a quick prayer that said, may whatever needs to come through about embodiment come through for the highest and best of everyone involved. Amen. I didn't feel super connected to God in that moment. I didn't, have this like deep spiritual experience. I said what needed to be said to activate the container and to set my intention for how I want to show up. Simple. Right? The same applies to you and the practices you are learning and engaging in. Your morning prayer, your 5 minutes of breath work, your embodiment touchstones throughout the day. They can be simple, they don't have to be complicated, and they don't have to feel like magic. That's the first thing I want to say. Healing can be, and we oftentimes bump up against resistance. This is very normal. Resistance is actually a natural part of change. There has to be that push and that pull that happens on our way to establishing a new habit, a new way of being, a new embodiment of self that actually trains the brain in the right direction, extinguishes the old way of doing it, and gets us walking that new pathway as messy as it feels. So notice how you're showing up in the face of the resistance. I have to do the thing that I know I need to do, and I don't want to fucking do it. The rebel is there. Maybe there's a part of you that's rebellious. I know I have a part of me that's like, don't tell me what to do. As soon as I tell myself what to do, the rebel's like, nope, fuck it. You're not going to do that. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, right? Recognize and work with the parts again. What part of you is resisting in this situation? Is the child feeling afraid and tired? And do they need a nap more than they need to be forced to go on a run? Is the higher self have a message for you that in this resistance that you can't hear because you're too busy fighting with your present day self to make yourself do something? Take a moment, take a breath, connect, drop in, and ask the various parts. What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? Ask your higher self. Tune into guidance that is always available to you instead of relying just on present day, probably tired you to come up with all the answers. You're not alone. And I want you to really, truly remember that. Not just this week, but forever. We become so conditioned when we've experienced trauma and attachment wounding to this idea that we have to figure it all out. We have to do it all. Somebody else does it, they're going to mess it up. Somebody else does it, they're going to hurt you, right? So I've got it. It's all on me. It is on you to heal. And you are more than just you, right? You have guidance and you have support from your spirit team and from all of your parts, your many, many, many parts. So tap in and tune in, right? What is the part of you that feels resistant? What does the highest self have to say? And maybe have that be the work that you're trying to do instead of the work that you're forcing yourself to do. I want to talk about coming back again and again to yourself as a practice, as an offering. I think about my morning time at my altar. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't feel like it, right? I'd like to wake up and then go like, oh, snooze button, right? Or whatever that is for you. Or let me wake up and just lay here in bed and check Instagram, right? All those things are so tempting. Or let me wake up and, I don't know, just do something that doesn't feel like work. And yet every morning, or almost every morning, I do give myself grace. About 5 mornings a week, I drag myself out of bed and I sit at my altar. And the first 3, 4, 5 minutes are just clearing the brain fog. Just taking a few breaths, just kind of getting oriented. What day is it? I don't feel like coming to my altar all the time. And 30 minutes later, after I've done a little breathing, a little praying, some intention setting, this new practice I'm doing to reset my nervous system for allergies, after I do all of that, little meditation, I do always imagine my angel wings opening. That's really helpful. I do believe we are angels walking on earth doing this work. How often do you regret going on a walk in nature, even though you didn't really want to do it when you started? So I want to, again, dispel this idea that you need to want to do it. It needs to feel really good and it needs to feel like magic in order to work. Not the truth. In fact, you're burning those new neural pathways and establishing new habits, new associations, and new beliefs when you bring yourself to the work. I don't want to call it forcing. And I think that's what a lot of us, how we show up to do the things we don't want to do. How do I make myself do this? Notice your languaging and notice the energy behind it. And for me, it's like, how do I just bring myself to the altar? Literally get my body there, right? And then my heart and my spirit can follow. So persistence in showing up for yourself, consistency. We get real tangled up in this one if we miss a day, right? Well, I wasn't consistent yesterday, so screw it. That's black and white thinking. The same mentality as I had 1 donut, so I might as well have 12, right? If you struggle with that, or I only went to the gym once last week, so I might as well not go this week at all. This is a very common response to trauma, black and white thinking. And it's one of the ways that we can really keep ourselves from moving forward. And I want you to just notice that. Oh, look at that. I'm doing the black and white thinking thing. Yeah. Let it be enough. Pat yourself on the back when you did it once, and your brain will be much more likely to say, okay, let's do that again. It's been a week. It doesn't matter. Let's come back again. That felt really good last week. I'm ready again. Good job, Rye. Good job. Good job. Good job, little child. We're all here. We did it. I know it might sound silly to talk to yourself like that, but I'm bringing you back and reminding you of this parts work as I continue to dive deeper into it and realize how fucking profound it is to be aware that you are a multifaceted person with many, many parts, and to be able to relate and converse with and honor different parts of yourself as a method of healing. It's super effective. So come back to you and all your parts as you sort through your stumbling blocks here with healing. It's normal for it to be messy. It's normal for it to be uncomfortable. You are doing the real work if you're feeling the messiness and the discomfort of it all. It almost always gets worse before it gets better. This is one of the things that can send us screaming and running back in the opposite direction again, back to all of our old ways, because it's like, oh my gosh, I opened the door just an inch and it was horrific, right? It was messy. It was scary. The more your nervous system is in an optimal arousal state, the more you can use the breath, use plant medicine, use the tools that you have to keep yourself in optimal arousal, the less likely you will be to run screaming in the event that things feel messy. You're doing incredible work. I really want you to know that. I'm so grateful for you. Please remember to drop into your body in any way that you can this weekend and just let it be subtle. Like right now in this moment, as I'm talking to you, I'm also aware of the sun on my back and the sensation of warmth on my back. That's it. I'm just aware of my body and a pleasurable sensation on my body. We are all so attuned to the uncomfortable sensations of the body. Draw your awareness to what feels good. Focus on what is nourishing. You are embodied.